Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. We had a very big week planned. We had a long list of items to get accomplished and had to be done in sequence so that we could get the motor located into the hull. And our end result was that we were going to be able to get the bridge deck out here on the tables, leveled up and ready to work on next week.
Yeah, that was the major goal, because we had to get this done. And to get this done, there were a bunch of things that had to happen first. And so we had to work our way through all of them. But we'll let you see what happened when we were putting the diesel in just a moment. But let's get on with the video, and we'll start out with Monday and Brian and I getting to work. Ready to glass all of this motor mounts in right now. And so we've sanded the entire interior of this area, because this is going to be all glassed, and cleaned it all with alcohol. We've put down a bunch of cups with the right amounts of epoxy. All we have to do is add hardener. And we're going to start here by, we have tabs that go around all the edges. Then we have two large pieces that go on each side, and then we have a big piece that goes across the whole thing. Brian and I are glassing in these panels right now, and the whole point of building this front part right now was to get these two on so that when we put the bridge deck on, the bridge deck can curve up and bond to this right here. So all of this build out up here right now, eventually had to be done no matter what, but right now all this build up is to get these two pieces on so that we can do the bridge deck. And so these are the last two of this job, so we're going to get these partially glassed in today and the other half glassed in tomorrow. And so we've got the blocks on. I've got to tighten this one up, I just noticed. But we've got the blocks on here so that we can do this outsides on both of them, and tomorrow we'll do the insides on both of them. Good morning. We're getting ready to glass this side of the motor mount. We've got yesterday we did the inboard side, now we're doing the outboard side. And then today we're going to do something additional. We're going to be putting a third layer that goes across both the whole way. So the three layers are that we tab all the corners, and we glass in one layer here, and then another layer all the way across. So mixing up some thickened epoxy right this minute. Fill in a little bit of the gaps here and there. Put some coves along these edges. And then we'll get to these tab pieces here that are all marked and labeled and ready to go on here. And hopefully get that last big layer on as well. So it'll be a difficult task to get those three layers all at once, but we're going to give it the college effort here, because it's still a really hot week this week, and it's morning right now, so it's only 84 degrees, which I say only because it's already warm. but it's going to be in the, in the low 90s today. So we don't want to be doing this lamination work when it gets into the 90s. So we got to get it done right now. So we're hopping right onto it, and we're hoping we can get this all glass, because if we can get this all glassed today, we can start getting the bilge paint on pretty quickly. Typically, you're told to wait 24 hours before you can paint onto fiberglass that you've done. That's minimum. So while Brian's mixing up some thickened epoxy so we can finish the other side of the foredeck pieces, while I'm waiting, I thought I'd talk to you just a little bit about something that we've gotten some comments on in our videos, not just recently, but over time, about to do with our age and how we think we can take on a project like this. And there's been comments like, what makes you think you can do this at your age? That was one. Another one was something about that we're likely to die before we finish. Lovely comments like that. And also that, why aren't we out there buying a boat and going? It's going to be so sad if we work on this and then die and don't get to go. Sad for who? It's not going to be sad for us. One of us goes, we're not going to be worried about anything at that point. But the thing I want to say is, what motivates us to do this. And it isn't just the sailing around the world. Certainly that's the number one goal, and we want to do that. And we've talked in this video up here about why it is we chose to build a boat rather than buy a used one, so I'm not going to go back into that. But I wanted to talk about the fact that building our own boat is a goal in itself, and something that we take pride in doing, and we'll enjoy our sailing trip if we ever get to it, all the more because we built the boat we're on. And so, when we do this every day, and we work very hard to build this boat, but it is a rewarding experience in itself. And my father built 2 houses by himself when he was in his early 70s. And if he can do that, 10 years earlier than that, I can build myself a boat. And so I'm not real worried about it. I get up every day excited about the project, excited about going to work on the boat, and that's reward enough for us. And if we get to the sailing part, we'll love that too. Hey, let's get to it. This will be the last of the coving and tabbing for this foredeck before we do the bridge deck. So last one. Happy to always get to the last of something. There's plenty more foredeck building to go, but it's the last we have to do before we can do the bridge deck, which is obviously our major goal. Because that gets us a lot of extra things we can do at that point. So. Done. Excellent. Now ready to go on the bridge deck. I know we haven't lowered the engine in yet, but with those motor mounts done, it's just a matter of letting it harden up before we can do that. So we're ready to get started on the bridge deck, and we're going to start by leveling these tables with our little block. Next day, and what we're doing now is there are some spots that are low that we want to fill so that the paint isn't having big dips in it and such. So we're going to fair some spots on here right now. Now we finished the motor mounts. Our next thing is to build the bridge deck. So we have to have a lot of tables for this. We need 60 feet worth of tables. Well, mark it on your calendars. It's Thursday, and this is the first day that we've actually started the job of building the bridge deck. And in our estimate for phase 4, we estimated, I believe, 6 weeks to do this. So this is day 1. Now, I fully intend to get this done in much shorter than 6 weeks, even though we estimated 6 weeks, because we want to make up time. So what we're doing to start, and it's a critical job for this, is that just like when we were building the cabin top, we use these tables, but these tables are not flat. The ground isn't flat that they're on, and the tables themselves are warbly. And so we're doing a different kind of stilt system than we did for the top. For that, we used stilts that were attached to the MDF and raised and lowered the MDF as necessary. But in this case, what we need to do is level these blocks, all of them, so that no matter which way we take a straight edge and place it across these things, they're perfectly level no matter which way we go on these things. And we can put a level on here and check. So the whole top of these blocks, not the table, are perfectly level everywhere. And that way, when we lay down the big, huge bridge deck piece that goes 3 tables long, and they'll all have these blocks on them, it will be sitting absolutely level while we're doing the dummy coves and building the webbing and all that good stuff. So first thing is to put these blocks on, get them all level, and screw them right to the table so that we have something that's level to lay the top on. To give you an idea just how not level this is, take a look here at this block height here, and already right here already changing, and you can just look in the middle there and see how tall those ones are. That's how far off this table is from being anywhere near level, because all the tops of these blocks are perfectly leveled comparatively. So it's really needed to have a level surface here, and these blocks are going to give that to us. All right, we've sanded all of the fairing compound we put on, and we are not trying to get this to a glossy, beautiful finish. This is the bilge, and it's just bilge paint that goes down in here. We just want it to be, fairly smooth, which it is, but this isn't any part of the living area of the boat or anything like that, so it doesn't have to be spectacular. So we don't want to waste a lot of time on sanding and fairing in here. This is plenty good to put bilge paint down. And so for now, we just put the laser in here, and we're going to mark this green line that you see here is the part we're going to paint up to right now. And the reason this part up here is unfinished is that we still have to tab in the side of the boat right here. And once we tab this side of the boat in, we're going to want to fair this section here from that. And then we'll resand that and paint up here as well. I'm not even sure which paint we'll use there. I don't know if it's bilge paint or just some of the paint. We'll see. But for now, this is as high as we need to go with the bilge paint. So we're going to clean it up. Mark this with blue tape all the way around and paint it. So while Brian's taping off our line for painting the bilge paint, I'm going to get into the bilge paint. And this is from one of our sponsors, Total Boat, and their Total Boat bilge paint. So get that out. Total Bilge. That's the name of the product. And this is what we're planning on using for all of the bilge in both of the hulls. So this is our first use of it, and we'll see how it goes. We chose to go with a light gray for the bilge area. And so I'm going to look up the instructions on this right now, make sure that we're doing the right thing. So here we go. Let's see how this works or doesn't. All right. Let's do it. let's get some total bilge. It's going on pretty well. Temperature right now is about 84, 85, and you can put this on up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so we're okay on the temperature. Okay, so there's coat number one. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a gorgeous surface, it's just the bilge. It's more like we want it protected from oil spills and water and things like that, because you know, when you're servicing an engine, you try as you might, but you are likely to spill things. So that's what the bilge paint's for. And thanks to one of our commenters this week, because they suggested that we do a remote oil filter, and I looked into it, and that turned out to be a very good idea, particularly for our nanny engine. So that'll cut down the number of oil spills that are going to happen down in here, because the problem with the nanny engine is, if you look over here, that's the oil filter right there, and it comes out sideways. So typically you fill an oil filter with oil and then you put it on. Well, if you turn that thing sideways, you're going to lose oil. Every time you take it off, you're going to lose oil. And so that's all going down into the bilge every time. Well, that's no fun. So, excuse me, if we put a remote, what happens is that instead of this oil filter, you attach one end of the remote, and then two lines come off and in and out, and you can take that and put the oil filter, say, up on that wall over there, and it can be now vertical, so when we take off the oil filter, it's not pouring out because it's vertical and easy to reach. Don't have to get down into the engine low, and it will spill far less oil. And so that's something that a user commented on, and we are definitely going to do, so thanks again.
So we decided to get the second coat on here today, and the directions say that you have to wait 8 hours. So since the other one was in the morning, we just waited until late afternoon and we're able to get this second coat in. The reason we really wanted to get this one 2 coats today is it's still only in the mid 80s today at this point, and we have up until 90 degrees Fahrenheit to put paint down. And so tomorrow is going to be a hotter day, so there's no way we can get 2 coats tomorrow, because if we put one in the morning tomorrow when it's cool, by the time the afternoon came around, it'd be too warm at 83, or I mean, excuse me, at 93 or something. But today it's still in the 80s, so we're able to separate these 2 coats morning and late afternoon. That got the 2 coats on today, and tomorrow morning, while it's still cool, before it gets into the mid 80s, we'll get the third and final coat we're going to put on of this, and that will be ready to put the engine in here.
Time to move the sole panel out of the big container. So Brian and I are putting on our straps for lifting. So this is a floor, and you can tell it's a floor because these are cutouts into the floor that we can access storage underneath the floor. And this one's over in the galley, and this one's over near the table. And then this cutout right back here is for in the cockpit. There's a bench, and under the bench there's access to the, and this gives a little extra 220 millimeters of floor to go deeper. So next thing we have to do is pull the peel ply off of this, because this is the side that we're going to be facing up, because this is actually the bottom. The part we walk on is the other side. So this is the side that we're going to want to put down first, so that we can put our webs on top of it and make the dummy coves using this as our board for it. So that means we need to get this peel ply off. As our reward for doing this, now we get to pick that panel up again, take it all the way out, and back in the other side so we can pull the peel ply on the top side. All right, that'll keep the wind from knocking it over because it can catch it on this side right here. But we can't go any further down because the boat is over there. So this is as good as it's going to be. We just need it here temporarily for today only, because after today this is going on to the tables that we're preparing. The only reason we need this out right now is we can't finish the tables because the engine's got to go in. That can't go into tomorrow. So we can't finish the tables till tomorrow. So we needed some work to do today, and so pulling this peel ply and getting this big piece out of there and in position was work we could get done today. So we'll pull this peel ply on this side now and just let it sit here. We'll probably attach it down on this side as well, just make sure it's not going anywhere in the afternoon wind. And then tomorrow we'll work on the engine, getting it in, getting the third table fixed, and putting this onto the tables for work. So we showed you doing that table yesterday, and so today, besides doing the paint in the bilge of the engine bay, we also leveled the top of this thing with all these blocks, so it's exactly the same level. Right across all these tables, so we can come across all these blocks and they're exactly at the same level all the way every way. No matter which way that we check these, they're all perfect every different angle. So these blocks make this top surface perfectly flat. But we've got one more table down there to do, just like this one, that we have to do, and right now can't. Because that engine and hoist right here are in the way of this table. So tomorrow, final coat on the bilge paint, put the engine in, and this will get out of the way. We'll put the table in, we'll put the other blocks on this table, and we'll put that floor, hopefully, on here tomorrow. Now, the only way that's happening is if I can get a bunch of people here, because you can see that Brian and I, no way we could put that table on here. We can carry it upright with those slings, but to get on these tables, it's going to have to be flat. And that's going to take a minimum of 6 people. So I have to see if I can get some crew. Minimum of 6, 8 would be much better. So we'll see what happens for tomorrow. We just finished rolling the third coat of bilge paint into the engine bay here. So it's all set. That's the last coat. So we're going to go ahead and pull our tape off. The other thing we did is we didn't worry too much about these bolts getting paint on them and such, because those are temporary bolts. We have a brand new set for putting the engine in, so we didn't worry about getting paint on them. They're just keeping paint from going down into the threads right now, so that worked out fine. But we'll pull all those bolts and And we are going to put the engine in today. Now, this paint isn't ready for that, but we're going to take and put a nut and a washer on each of these, and the motor mount will not quite set down onto the paint right now. So it'll be fine, and we kind of have to do it because if we're going to get further work on that bridge deck done, we've got to get that engine out of here, and there's only one place it can go right now, in here. So what we'll do is we'll set it down. We'll leave the weight on the engine hoist instead of on the bolts. But if worst case scenario in the engine hoist hydraulics let the thing drop, it'll land on those nuts and keep it off of the paint either way. So that's the plan, and we're going to get rolling on that momentarily. But first thing we got to do now is build a little platform for the engine hoist. As you can see, we've got our diesel hoisted pretty high up in the air here. It is about 2 inches below the top of the boat right now, but that's okay because we're going to be raising the actual engine hoist up about 5 or 6 inches, so it's going to clear underneath of there. So as you can see here, it's not quite there, but it will be because we have to build a platform to get us above the level or equal to the level of that cement right there, and that's going to raise this whole contraption up. Fortunately, we have a couple pallets that will work for that. So what we've done right now is we've taken the engine off of its crate, and we've put that up on some blocks right now so that we can get the engine hoist and this board out of here and put the pallets and stuff in. So the first thing we need to do now is set the engine back down onto this pallet area right here so that we can kick the engine hoist out. All right, so we've got couple pallets in a row here. Unfortunately, we need the pallet that's underneath of it for over there, so what we're going to do is we're going to lift the engine up so that we can pull that pallet out, take it around the other side, and put it underneath, and then we'll be ready. So we got to get this engine hoist up on the platform. We had a small dilemma. The bridge that we had was not going to allow these arms to go underneath to pick the engine up. So we had to get our floor jacks out and raise these up a bit so that the legs from the engine hoist will go underneath now. All right, I think we're ready for our first attempt to lower this diesel into it. We'll see how it goes. First we got to clear the top of this thing. Clear, and I'm going a little extra because this might swing and I want to bang into it. All right, we're above the edge of the boat. That's our first triumph. A few of our commenters were worried that this engine wasn't going to fit onto the motor mount. So what do you think? Is this going to be the first time it fits, or are we going to have to make some changes? At this point, I sure didn't want 700 pounds of diesel engine to fall and break the bottom of our boat that we spent months getting ready. Yay! Okay, let's lower it down right there, and we'll have to try to swing it over because it's not quite centered, but it's close. I'll start bringing her down. Will it?
It's going to come to me as you lower it.
That's good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pull back.
Back I can do.
Hold it, hold it, hold it.
I'm held. Tell me when you're ready for me to go slow. And down. We're on. We're in. All right. Success. Even the motor mounts are shaking properly. And that is why We took about 1 million measurements to get this right because you don't have much play in here. And you know, a little bit of play, 1/4 inch or 10 millimeters at the most, maybe 8 millimeters of play. But it's on, it's sitting on the mounts. The rubber of the mounts is shaking properly for the vibration out. It's not touching anywhere on the motor. As you can see, it's all sitting in there very nicely. Let's go look at the other side. The other side is same deal. The oil filter fits. All right, but it's in. No catastrophes, and it fit. What more do you want? Well, now that we've got the engine in, we're finally can put this table in place, and that means we can put the leveling blocks onto it. So we got Carl and his son Zach here, along with Brian and I, of course. And the first thing they're doing is putting some braces around the table so we don't get so much sway. We already did that on the first 2 tables. And then Brian's working on the new leveled blocks right now with the laser. Once we get these on top, then we can put that monstrous floor on. So, all good. In we go. Let's load the upside down floor. A little further. A little further. Good. We did it. Yes. All right, so now we've got the floor in here. It's upside down. I'll go over why it's upside down later, but we leveled all those little blocks to make sure this whole top of this was level. So let's find out if it is perfectly level. But what about the other way? 0. And here's a 0 for you. That's my cousin Todd. This was really easy, moving this big, huge thing in here. It was a simple thing. For this many people, we have Todd and Carl and Trevor and Terry and Zach, myself, and somewhere hiding is that little gremlin, Brian, over there. And with this many people, it actually made the job super simple. That's good because we're not done with this. We've got to construct the whole thing for our dummy coves, and then we have to take that whole structure out, take this out, flip over that whole grid, bring the other floor portion in, bring in the grid, get that all glassed, and bring this piece back in the other direction, and then glue it to the top. So we'll be bringing in and out to get this done, but it does cut off a lot of time.
Now it's chicks and margaritas.
I think he's talking chickens and then margaritas. I'm not sure. All right, off we go.
Well, we did it. We got this engine into the hull on the first shot, thanks to a lot of careful measuring by this guy and Brian. They measured so many times to get everything just so, got this engine in.
Right, and it went in first shot. We didn't even have to take it in and out and in and out. It just lowered right in, set right down on the mounts. We were very excited about it. I'm still grinning because, you know, you do that much careful measuring and stuff, you still in the back of your mind, there's still that little nagging doubt that you got this right. And so when it dropped right onto those mounts, we were very happy about that. And the angle's correct and everything, so it's all perfect. And I'd also like to thank our crew who showed up, and it was a last minute call because I wasn't sure we were going to make it with the engine, and therefore if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to do the start of the bridge deck, and I would need all those people. So I didn't want to give them, you know, a bunch of notice because then they would be showing up when I didn't need them. So I called them up on Friday night to show up on Saturday to do this. And my cousin Todd and my cousin Trevor, my cousin Carl, his son Zach, my friend Terry, and who else came? Well, Brian, of course, and myself. So a good team of people, and it worked, and it was really easy with that many people to get that on there, so that worked out well. And the leveling of the blocks worked out, as I showed you. It all came out perfectly level, so we're ready to get to work on Monday starting to build that bridge deck. And I've got a bunch of things that we did to cut the time down. And I've been on the phone with Schionning in South Africa, and we have managed to trim down what it's going to take to build this to a very efficient way of construction. And so we'll show you all that as we build that bridge deck, and that'll be in the next few videos starting next week. Now, next week's video might be a little bit shorter than normal because there's a holiday. 4th of July is an American holiday, and so we won't have a full 5-day week at the lot, but I still think we're going to accomplish lots of things. But thank you all for watching this week's video. We appreciate all of the time you spend and joining us as we go through the odyssey of building SV Lynx. And also, thank you to our patrons. There's a few new ones this week, and we really do appreciate the support. There's a million little costs that keep coming up. You know what it'd be like doing a project like this. You can't count for everything when you plan, and that's certainly true. And so we really appreciate the help that they give us.
Yes, thank you so much to all the patrons and all of you viewers. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
Which will be starting on the bridge deck.
Yay!
See you next week.
Bye.